All right. Welcome to the Alamance County Board of Elections meeting on November 7th, 2024 at 10 o'clock. We have a quorum, so we can conduct business. Can you ask the members to look at the agenda so that we can adopt the agenda?
Will we approve the agenda?
So, all right. Any discussion, any additions or subtractions to the agenda? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Ayes have it. Agenda adopted. So next is public comments. Hello, public.
Hello.
Yeah,
I'll kick things off.
all right, just introduce yourself. Before you...
Peter Shea with the Alamance Democratic Party. I have two comments. One is I want to compliment everybody in this room for the energy and diligence and just all the hard work. On election night, I was watching on YouTube until you turned on the TV. And then I decided if you're watching the election results, I'll go watch them. And I did see that the data got posted to the State Board of Elections a little after midnight. So you obviously all put in a really long day, and I want to appreciate that. Second thing is a question's gone. Did you receive the email that I sent Tuesday night regarding?
I did, and I have. We are still collecting data. I will get that out to you as soon as we have every. I don't want to send you inaccurate data. So as soon as I have that, I will get that to you.
Excellent. Thank you. And I obviously must have misspelled Charlene's name since her email bounced.
Okay, I'll get that to you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I'll introduce myself. Hi there. My name's Sarah Ovaska. I am with the Southern Coalition for Social Justice. We're part of the Nonpartisan Election Protection Coalition and just here to observe. And if there's anything we can offer in terms of resources and questions come up, I'm glad to be here, and we'll echo the thanks for all the hard work that went into this historic election. I know election workers, and we're just working around the clock, and it's very much appreciated.
Thank you very much
Thanks.
for your comment.
Hey there, Peter Goodman, a volunteer with Democracy NC, and I just want to congratulate you guys on I witnessed the usual expert, election. And, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any board member response besides appreciation?
I just want to say that whatever compliments we get really should be passed on to the staff of the
Yes.
Alamance County Board of Elections, who did a very, very good job.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Item 3 is the ID exception form review.
So we received 1,294 provisionals. All right, 115 of them were for early voting. The rest came on election day. Okay, of that 1,294, 60 of them had photo ID exception forms. All right. What I did was I did a sort. I have all 60 here that have the ID forms. As you have the ID form that's in front of you. For the first, it says, just for public to know, it says, exception 1, reasonable impediment states, I suffer from one or more of the following reasonable impediments that prevent me from including a copy of photo ID. I'm unable to, excuse me, I got the phone with me. I cannot get photo ID due to lack of transportation, disability, or illness, lack of birth certificate or other documents, work or school schedule, family responsibilities. Number 2 is my photo ID is lost, stolen, or misplaced. Number 3, I applied for photo ID but have not received it. Number 4 is an other, and you have to put in the other. Number 5, the state or federal law prohibits me from listing my reason. Exception 2 is I have a religious objection. And exception 3, I was a victim of a natural disaster occurring with 100 days before the election day that resulted in a disaster declaration by the President of the U.S. Or the Governor of North Carolina. So of the 60 forms, 19 of them chose the other, and or 2 of them have something different that I'm going to explain to you. So we're here to talk about the other. Predominantly because that's where it may not be something that was listed on this form. So I have those available for you to review and look at. But I'll go to my first 2, which we're trying to figure out is a little confusing to us. The photo ID exception form in 2 of the precincts that was given was the photo ID exception form for absentee voting. We're not sure how that happened because the ones for election day are done on pads and the ones for absentee are loose leaf. So they received a pad, but it's about the same form. It just has that extra step that says I'm unable to provide a photocopy. That's that first one. And so on one of the forms, an individual chose that first one, I'm unable to provide a photocopy. But they also said that my photo ID is lost or stolen. Okay. The second one, they just checked I'm unable to provide a photocopy. So these 2, I'll just figure out pass along.
Do they provide their part of their social security number or their driver's license number?
Yes, sir.
Yes, they did. They did. So
So if that one had come in as an absentee in the mail, we would have accepted it.
yes. So, like I said, we're still rather perplexed on how that happened,
Mhm.
but it didn't seem to be any other precinct, so I don't know. We just don't know how it got on a pad. So, but anyway, that's the only difference in the 2 forms. They signed it and did everything they were supposed to do.
Mhm.
So, I just want to let you know that.
So it says here in the referral, no, X, no record of registration.
Yeah, so that is when they came to vote, if they didn't have a photo ID, then they're referred to the help desk. And at that point, they're offered a provisional ballot.
Mhm.
And their option is to complete a photo ID exception form. If they have an ID, they can also choose then to just bring the ID to our office before November 14th at 5 p.m. So they can do one or the other. They can do both, fill out that form and then bring that ID. Okay. So we don't have, as far as the reason at this point, the reason for the ballot, if it's accepted or not, we haven't gone through that. We have to still do research on these ballots.
Mhm.
At this point, we're just
Okay.
looking at the photo ID exception form to see if we would approve it if the ballot is considered one that
So
would
we're-
be eligible.
Okay, so you got to get through this step before you get to this.
Right.
Step. Okay.
Right, yeah. So at this point, we don't know if these ballots are eligible to be counted because that research has not been done. We just got the ballots in on Tuesday night and I've just organized them yesterday as far as precincts and getting
Sure.
the ID exception forms. So,
So we just need to vote on whether or not we're going to accept these exception.
right.
Sure. Are we gonna vote on them individually or?
Well, we don't have to. I mean, I can, it
Okay.
just kind of depends on how you want to do it. Like I said, I
Right.
got another 17 sitting here, so you can make that decision on if there's any that you want to pull out.
Okay, so we can go to the file and make 2 files.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are
Or,
all of them the same thing as that? They got the wrong form?
No. no, those were the only two.
That's the
Oh,
two.
those
you
were
said
the
got.
only 2. And like I said, we couldn't figure out how that happened.
So all we're voting on is those 2 right now.
At the moment, you can do them individually if you choose, or you can, however you want.
Well, they're the same form issued under the thought that they were the correct form, this is the incorrect form, so, yeah.
I move that we accept those two.
All
I,
right.
I say,
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimously accepted of the exception form.
Okay. So I guess I'll just give you these to you and then you can just kind of start reading through them and decide, pass them along.
Do you want to tell them what
Yeah, I was gonna
must be, what-
Now, there was guidance on the back of this memo. It says what a county board considers when reviewing a voter's photo ID exception form. It is on page 14 and 15 of memo 2023-03 from the state. Okay, and it's stating that truth or falsity of the voter's statement as to why they are prevented from presenting a photo ID when they show up to vote if a voting in person. And I highlighted that bottom part that says the board is only concerned with the truth or falsity of the assertion of the form that 1, an identified impediment is preventing the voter from showing a photo ID. 2, the voter has a religious objection to being photographed. Or 3, the voter was a victim of a recent disaster. Continuing on page 15, a photo ID exception form that identifies an other reasonable impediment that bears no relationship to a voter's ability to present a photo ID when voting in person. So I guess this is kind of what we're weighing on because we're talking about the other.
Mhm.
And does it,
well, here, okay, so just for instance, for this first one, for my application, they put down other and it says you must write why.
yeah, they have
They
to
did.
write why.
They did.
They did, so these white forms are from early voting, okay?
That's the ones we were talking about earlier, that you got the wrong color.
No. Early voting, the form prints when they're doing the provisional. It's not a yellow form that you see on election day. So this is early voting, same day.
Right.
And so he said, under other reasonable impediment, they could type what he stated. This is what
Oh,
he
that's what
stated.
it is.
Mm-hmm. So,
Okay.
okay.
I didn't know it printed out. I
Yeah,
thought
so-
that was another way.
Yeah, so I'm sure that to Mr. Ashby too. So this is early voting and it prints here. Okay, so the voter doesn't write it. The person who's checking in the net for this types it into the computer and it prints it for them.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this, do y'all research that? Did you research that reason? Or y'all required to just take their word for it?
Mhm, because what it states here.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
wondering if y'all. Okay.
So you're looking at right here under 4 other
It
reasonable.
was written there.
Mhm, right.
Okay.
And this is similar to those first two where all we're ruling on is if they're reasonable impediment.
That's all this
Yeah.
meeting is about, is these
Yeah.
photo ID exception forms.
I don't know. Let me ask you a question. Can we go through these and if any of us have a question, we pull those out and put it in the middle? If we don't
Yeah.
have a problem,
Mhm.
we'll just send them all around.
Okay.
Did anybody have a problem with accepting this first one?
No.
Okay. And to reject an ID form, we have to have a unanimous vote to reject it. Am I remembering that correctly?
Is this, we would send a letter.
This is where we send a letter to the, this is why we're having this meeting. We would have to
Okay.
send a letter to the voters so that they could be here or
So
have the,
there's sort of
option.
ID exception form cure process.
yeah,
would
that
go
they
into-
could be at the meeting next week
Mhm.
at 10 o'clock
Okay.
Oh, okay,
to,
Yes.
you know, give what their explanation is.
Okay, so
Okay.
the exception of the ballot doesn't happen at all here. It's
Mm-mm,
just,
mm-mm.
should we
This
move
is
to the
just-
next step of,
Sending them, and it would be a certified letter.
Right.
So they would
so
have.
all
time
these
to-
get, all these people get a certified letter or just the ones we
Just the
reject?
ones.
Just the ones
Okay.
who would,
Okay,
Now, this person has a voter 70 years old, no ID, disabled, but they checked other. They could have checked disabled.
Mhm.
That-
and some of them are like that. So,
Mhm.
you know,
and
that
because of their
would be up
age,
to you.
they did not have an ID at all.
That's not clear,
Okay,
but it is clear that they said that they're disabled. They could have or should have checked the disability box. Does that void it or?
That's just how they filled it out. I mean, I thought there were a few situations that there was an appropriate box on the form for them to check. And, so that's,
But-
I'm leaving it
I
to
would-
you. I mean,
I would, I would,
that's
su-
not mine.
I would suggest that if it was, especially if it's a spot on the form that accepts it, that there would be no question about that because
That would be my feeling.
even though,
I just want to be clear about the
yes,
rule.
yeah,
Mhm.
thank you for being clear. I saw y'all discussing this one a little bit.
Yeah, I would say have him bring it in and send it for the.
Okay, so we'll pull this one out. So y'all are suggesting that these forgotten photo ID should go in the cure letter pile?
Yeah, that's what these are, right? Yeah.
Well, this one, it just says does not have a North Carolina photo ID. I mean, that's not really an explanation.
Right.
And, okay, so we'll just put it in the cure letter pile.
That's
Okay.
what I'm thinking.
It's obviously they don't have photo ID because they are filling out an exception form. Did not have a hard copy. Is that the same
So-
as lost, stolen, or misplaced?
I'm assuming they had it on their phone.
Yeah, that's
When
one, I
they-
think that, is that the one that says I've got it on my phone?
No, this is the one.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, so I don't.
Or maybe
they
the
just
hard
couldn't-
copy could be they had went to the DMV and had not received the
Well, that
actual,
could be.
card. They
That
just
could
handed
be.
a
Which would,
paper
Paper.
copy.
which would be I applied for a photo ID but did not receive it.
Correct.
Should we still do a cure for this one or?
I would do a cure for that one.
they could, anyone that had the paper copy, should have been instructed as well to come to our office from yesterday through the 14th to receive a free ID. While
We
they
can do that if they're registered. I don't,
Oh, that's
no,
right.
I haven't researched those yet, so I don't know if they're registered. If they're registered, I can reach out to them and we can make them a photo ID that would, you know,
Cure that.
fight to cure that. If they're not,
I think this one should have checked down here.
yeah, that's,
It's like the other.
That
one, they
was-
could've done it.
that was my thought too.
Yeah.
There again, that's
I
why,
can understand.
that's why I brought it to you.
Mhm. Right,
Yeah.
right, I'm just saying,
Mhm. Yeah,
is that just like the one you had?
Yeah.
Check that.
that's why I said some of the explanations were boxes that already existed.
I don't think they read down the list.
I don't think they did, right?
I wouldn't.
I'm still questioning this one. I didn't have a hard copy. Is basically the same as, well, so you're saying that what probably happened is that they have been to the DMV and
Well, I mean, that could be
Oh.
one explanation.
Right.
I don't know what the
Yeah.
explanation was.
what I don't want to have happen
Is there
this
anything on the back of that? The
notes.
let's see if there's any notes. Oh.
What I don't want to have happen is somebody doesn't,
There's no notes with it.
if they meet one of the exceptions, but they check that one and then we send them a cure letter and then if they have to come in and fix it, but which they may or may not do.
Right.
But if we determine, were we to determine that the why is the same as one of the designated exceptions,
Well, and we could certainly reach out to them and find that out.
okay.
Okay.
I'm just concerned that if that they actually met one of the exceptions, but we're asking them to do another step of coming in and proving it, even though, or answering the
I see
question.
what you're saying, yeah.
I just don't want this person to disappear.
Do you want to put a sticky on that she can follow up for more information from him or her?
But then where does it go if she can't get in touch with them?
We would send the certified letter.
But if we just accepted this now, none of that would happen.
That's
Right.
up to y'all, yes.
That's what I thought we were doing. We were voting on the validity of what they put down, not second
Right.
guessing what they might have done.
Right. And we've said that if they wrote the same thing in the must write why as is listed above, then we would just go ahead and accept that, right? So,
Which one would they have put it in under?
well,
Like a birth
it
certificate?
could be, it could be lost, stolen, or misplaced, or applied for ID but did not receive it.
But they're just saying they don't have a hard copy. Is that with them at the time? Does that mean, so you contact them, they're supposed to have, if it's a registered voter, you have more information. As to,
But then that requires them to respond to us.
Correct.
And so that puts us another step on them.
correct.
I just want to, but if we're accepting answers in the you must write why, because we see them in the other, in the designated, in the suggested answers, then should they have to, with some ballots,
I think that there's just not enough clarity in their explanation that requires some follow-up. And the follow-up that we're requesting, I don't think is too arduous.
is I just know a lot of people, we send them requests to clarify and never hear from them. That happens pretty regularly, right?
Sure.
If I can, sorry. I'm
Sure,
with the
go ahead.
Nonpartisan Election Protection Coalition, and I contacted some of our attorneys. Our belief is that we should not be curing ballots at this stage, that if a voter said they're planning to come back to present ID, they should have been given a reasonable impediment form to begin alone. If they filled out a reasonable impediment, there shouldn't be any cure process unless there's falsity questions. There's a belief that what was written is false, that this is a point where it's a veracity, not how to prove, if that is making sense. If I could just relay that.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's what they say, truth or falsity
That is,
of the voter's statement as to why they prevent or they are prevented from presenting a photo ID when they show up to vote in person.
but our
So you're just pretty much voting on whether you believe what the voter put or don't believe what the voter put.
We're not judging whether or
You're-
not the reason is a valid reason.
Correct. You're
As long as
just
there's a
like,
reason, it should go on.
right, it's not,
That
the
it,
reason is reason.
I kind of looked at it for a reason why they couldn't prevent or couldn't show the ID at the time.
Not whether it's a valid reason,
right.
Right.
You're just whether you believe them or don't believe them.
but not whether it's a good reason or not a good reason.
Just whether
So we're
you
just checking to see if we think they're
Sorry.
Well,
presenting a falsehood.
So
Right.
page 15, I think, had a good on the memo.
Yeah,
Had a
they,
good-
question number 17 on pages 15 to 16.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're on
Boards
16.
Must remember an impediment to presenting ID could involve something that's kept a voter from even obtaining an ID in the first place, not transportation, not the documents. But even if a voter has an ID, the law still permits them to claim a reasonable impediment to presenting ID at the voting site, such as a misplaced ID, unaware they would need to bring an ID, etc.
Yeah, so this is what we're looking at are in the other category, what they put. So again, I think page 15 had some guidance on that.
When I go to California, state of California, go to photo ID, but you need in North Carolina, I didn't still get that. So my voter had California picture ID, but she needs to get in North Carolina, but she didn't do that.
If the county board finds that the other reasonable impediment bears no relationship to a voter's ability to present photo ID when voting in person, or including a copy of an ID when voting absentee, and therefore the form is false, then disapproval of the voter's original ballot on that finding would comply with the law. So their reason would have to be a reason that there was no reason to not have an ID.
Or to take if a voter just did not like the law and
Okay.
refused to show up their ID while voting, then we would need to send them a letter at that point. That they would need to.
But if we believe that they just forgot their ID,
Mhm,
then that's a good enough reason to accept the impediment form
exactly,
without a cure letter. So that would mean these
would,
could go into the good pile.
right,
And I don't have a hard copy.
if you believe them,
There's no reason to think that that's not true. So then there's no reason to think. Then there's no reason for us to contact them.
Well, my thing is, let me go ahead and tell you, they got there somehow. To say at the moment they get there, I don't have an ID, a hard copy. I'm saying it's a no.
So you're saying you don't believe them?
No. They
And what,
got there, how'd they get there? I
and
mean, they're not saying on there, I forgot it because I didn't drive or anything like that, but I say that form didn't tell them the truth.
I drove her election day, she didn't have a.
hang on. So this one that says does not have a North Carolina photo ID. You think you have a reason to believe that that's not true?
They would have to have one to drive it or else.
Somebody
they'd
could have
have to
driven
have
them.
some kind of ID.
They could have taken the bus.
So they're existing without an ID.
we don't know what's going on except that we don't know if it does not have a photo ID means they don't have one at all, or if that means they don't have it there when they're
And
there.
I agree, but they get the opportunity to show that they do that. And that's me. If y'all want to, y'all two would.
I mean, but again, to clarify, basically we're trying to determine whether or not we have any reason to believe that they are lying on this form.
Okay.
So if it's just a question of truth, false or true, then I think that we have to accept that one. And unless we're absolutely sure that they're telling a falsehood.
Because it does not have North Carolina photo ID. It could be that it was a lack of transportation, that they don't have an ID, a disability that they don't have an ID, a lack of birth certificate, documents they don't have an ID. All those things would be a reason why they don't have an ID. And we accept all those other ones without question.
Are you trying to convince them?
No, I'm just still trying to get clarity.
Sorry,
Sure.
I'll just add again that the guidance is that there's not supposed to be speculation. It's supposed to be known facts. So speculating whether or not you think a voter should have been able to get an ID or how to get there, that is speculation, and that is not supposed to be part of this process. It's supposed to be just, is there a belief that it's true or not? And if it is a belief that's false, then there's a process that follows. But this isn't supposed to be a place where there is speculation. And I can get I've got statutes or guidances, whatnot, that spells that out. I understand it's a very confusing process, and it's also new. So.
So, okay, with this, we got some coming down the pipeline. They said they put other, and they put down, I have a picture ID on my phone, but it isn't acceptable. So they have an ID, but it's not acceptable. Got another one here that says, I will bring it by. Another one says, I will bring it by. I will come by. So what do? We still approve it just because it said I'll come by?
Well, I will come by is kind of like them not filling out an exception form and just voting provisional and saying they would bring it in later. So that's a little different than I don't have one, because if you don't have one, there's a lot of reasons why you might not have one.
And that's what I thought the speculation would be, is to try to give them a reason as to why they don't have one. We would be speculating as to why they don't have one. They're honest in saying that I don't have one.
But I think
That doesn't kill the ballot, though, is what I'm saying. That doesn't say throw it in the shred pile.
Yeah, I think what we have here is, this is the first gate that they have to go through in order for the ballot to be considered. And that first gate is this person, do we believe that this person is telling the truth or not? There are other gates that come later on, but right now, all we have to do is say, we believe that this person is telling the truth. And here it says misplaced driver's license will come by with a passport or driver's license. Basically, the emphasis here, I think, would be misplaced driver's license. And we have no reason to question whether or not they're telling the truth or not.
Okay. Let it go then. I mean, if y'all two are saying put it in a approved file, go ahead.
So if the reason why matches one of the already accepted, if they could have checked another box and decided for whatever reason to write it out anyway, I don't have a hard copy that, like you said, could just be misplaced, right? This one does not have a photo ID. Well, that could be for any of those reasons.
When that one was done, that could have been, whoever was entering this provisional early voting could have just clicked the wrong box. You know, maybe didn't ask enough questions as to why they didn't have one.
Right.
You know, was it one of those reasons? They might have just went automatically hit other instead of asking, you know, was there a specific reason?
Flip that over. Flip over again. This is in-
No.
And then help control.
So if they specifically say they're going to bring an ID by, what do you say on that? What you just said?
Well, what I would say is that the, whether or not, they're gonna bring an ID by, I don't think we can make a judgment about that. All we can make a judgment about is they've misplaced their ID.
Yeah.
Or they didn't
At
bring.
the time of,
Right, and that they're telling the truth about that. I don't think that we're in a position to judge the veracity of whether or not they're going to come by. Or not.
okay. So doesn't have a photo ID. That would be, that could be for any of those reasons. We just don't know and don't. Didn't have a hard copy. Again, no, you know, it's basically number 2 covers almost all of the circumstances. If it's so, didn't have a hard copy is a lost, stolen, or misplaced, basically.
Now, this person is saying misplaced driver's license will come by with passport or driver's license. It's a misplaced ID.
Yeah.
And we have, I don't have any reason to question whether or not they're telling the truth or not.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, they even say misplaced
Mhm.
right there in the explanation.
Without wallet will come by to Board of Elections with driver's license.
Misplaced.
Misplaced. And we take on face value that the.
So they basically have to write in
Forgot.
write in a reason that it is.
My wallet,
That we think is that we have some reason to believe they're being untruthful.
right, my wallet is on the moon.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't bring, you know, right, that's a falsehood.
Yeah.
I have a picture on my phone, but isn't accepted.
And these will be checked for registration and all those things after. Like I said, we're like we said, we're only trying to look at these exception forms and seeing if we think they're lying.
So
Okay.
you'll take these right here and go downstairs and start doing the research. Oh, okay, I got it.
On whether or not they're,
Right.
should be able to vote.
You know,
Right.
whether they're eligible. to
Well,
vote.
eligible.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'll go for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We'd like to,
Those can go there.
okay, good.
I thought you were just gonna automatically send them a, what do you call it? Register.
Well, that's what I need to know. because
Right,
I don't
so you'll-
have much
Right, I
time.
understand.
Yes,
And that's why,
Yeah.
that's the purpose of having this meeting early.
I just learned some things.
And she'll, again, this is just for this form. She will research every one to, as to whether,
So I thought the rejecting of it would then make the research start.
oh, okay.
I thought if you approved
No,
it-
she approved, she,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
that's why I was, that's why I was.
I have to
saying
see if the
still.
voters
Good,
are
good.
eligible to
I
vote.
thought
Yeah.
that the only way it could be researched is if we reject it.
no, she'll research all,
Oh, okay.
every single, provisional ballot that comes in.
Because I misunderstood this.
Yes,
But there's also, on Canvas, or the day before Canvas, we go through all the provisionals that she's researched.
Right.
And-
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that would be where we would,
It's just with this form, if we don't believe that it's true, I have to send out a letter to give them notice.
Sure.
And that way they can come to next week's meeting and present whatever their reason is.
so this one, they checked other reasonable impediment, but then didn't write anything in it. And then there's a little note up here with an asterisk that says from Buncombe County relocated due to storm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that-
yes.
yeah, and
So they could have gone
They-
down here
that's
to victim
kinda-
of natural
yeah.
disaster.
that was my thought, but
yeah,
And the person that filled out this, the person who owns this, who this phone work, who this form is, for, wrote that. Okay, so they got the information there. It's just kind of sort of in the, not the most clear places. All right,
so all those
I
are,
will entertain the motion to accept these photo ID exception forms.
So move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The forms are accepted.
Okay, and I think Karen had one more
Oh.
issue that she just wanted the board to be present and
had everything.
can we go through them?
I think I'm gonna write them down now.
Like, you want to bring it? Well, I'll explain to them what
Let me, yeah.
she's got. 4 correct,
Mhm.
4 provisionals that they put the application inside the envelope
Mhm.
with the ballot, and she has to have the application to process
Mhm.
the ballot. So she would like y'all's approval to open the application out, seal it back up,
Mhm.
and so she can have the application to process the ballot.
All right. You
Okay.
okay with what she just said? Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. She and she just wants to do that in front of the board. Just open those up.
I apologize for not realizing that.
No, it's new.
It's
It's
new.
kind of, it's,
I'm just glad that we all, in the end, all agreed,
Yeah,
because
Right,
we,
right.
we want to keep not
I thought
anonymity,
it-
unanimity.
I thought it was, that unless we said no,
Oh,
we didn't
yeah.
go further.
no, we are always,
Because it's a provisional.
yeah.
So all provisionals get research.
Okay. So,
Sorry.
no, that's fine. They
I had
were
the-
all in
I thought I
agreement.
had them, yeah, okay.
So, here. Just, yeah, so what's it? And then just all we're gonna take out is the application.
And then I've got tape to it.
Um,
Yeah, see, they brought them back without anything in it.
So you know that's where it's at, it's in there.
If you look at,
It can't be anywhere else.
you can kind of check and see.
Yeah. Here, I'll do
Yeah.
that if you wanna take
Yeah.
back up.
Need some of that gorilla tape somebody used.
Well, I want to get in
You
it next
remember
week if I need to.
Were you here for that? Were you up here for that?
For the gorilla tape?
Did
No, I
somebody
must have
gorilla
missed it.
tape the ballot, mail in ballot?
Oh, my
And
goodness.
it got the glue went through to the ballot.
Help
so they had to
referral
redo the ballot.
and application.
I'm gonna let you guys sign on there.
Do the sign across the
Sign
page.
across, well, yeah, kind of like diagonal, so.
I'm gonna do the other side too, just in case.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Here, I'll help you. There's one.
Oh,
Okay.
Is there any other business to come before the board?
Just a reminder that Tuesday, November 12th at 2 p.m. we'll be doing the sample audit count. And I think Gary and Elaine
Mhm.
will be here for that.
And then after that,
Will be Thursday, November 14th at 10 a.m. That'll be the provisional and supplemental absentees meeting prior to canvas on Friday.
so that's on the 15th.
The 15th, and that will be at 11 a.m.
You have to write it down.
Yes.
All right. Hearing no further business, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
Move, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
See y'all next week.
Okay.
Thank you for.
And